Hello, welcome back to another episode of my teeny tiny kitchen. Happy Halloween, boo and all that. I wanted to do something slightly Halloweeny today using pumpkin. Unfortunately, there seemed to be a distinct lack of pumpkins in the whole of Surrey. I'm really struggling to get hold of pumpkin, but if you have one and you've done your pumpkin carving and you have no idea what to do with the inside of your pumpkin, then I have the recipe for you. It's a pumpkin hummus. I know, right? Really good with crudité, pita bread, flatbread. It's really tasty. If you get a massive flatbread, smear it on the inside, chuck some chips in there, roll it up, show it in your face. Yum. So unfortunately I can't use pumpkin, so I'm going to be using butternut squash, which is a great substitute. You can use any squash for this recipe, to be honest with you. Butternut squash, gem squash, pumpkin, whatever you like. All the kind of those squashes work really well in this recipe. So what I've got here is about 400 grams of butternut squash, which I've cubed, just cut into sort of small bits, which I'm going to roast off with some really beautiful spices. So we're going to use some coriander, we're going to use some turmeric, and we're going to use some cumin. Give it a really nice depth, and it's that kind of Arabic sort of flavour, that kind of cumin heat that it's not really heat, it's kind of like an earthy sort of taste that you get, very Arabic in nature. With Arabic, I'm going to say hi to my gorgeous friend Salad. No, it's a very weird name, it's her nickname. She's actually inspired me to make this, and I think she said she was going to be cooking along. So if you are cooking along, Salad, hi. I've just realised my earrings match the butternut squash. That's quite funny. So what we're going to do, I've preheated the oven to 200 degrees, which I think is probably about gas mark 6 or 7. It's quite high, so we want to get the squash nice and roasted. So I'm going to pop that into a roasting tray. And along with that, I've got 2 cloves of garlic, which I've peeled. Smells good. So I'm going to put those in. And then we're going to take our lovely spices. So I want, where's my jailer spoons? Ta-da! I need a half a teaspoon of each of my spices. So, half a teaspoon of coriander, half a teaspoon turmeric, and half a teaspoon of ground cumin. Smells just divine. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some oil. I'm using rapeseed oil. I tend not to cook a lot with olive oil, purely because it doesn't have a particularly high smoke point, and those kind of oils can become carcinogenic if they get too hot. Although this can do the same, it's just got that little bit of a higher smoke point. Plus, it's English, brilliant. If you're ever driving through the country and you see all those beautiful yellow fields, that's actually rapeseed, and that's where this oil comes from. So it's brilliant, it's sustainable, it's local. I love it, and it tastes delicious. So I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of oil into my squash here. We're just going to get our hands dirty. Just going to smoosh it all around, get all those spices rubbed into the squash. Dirty hands. We're going to put that in the oven now for about 30 to 40 minutes until it's lovely and soft. And then once that's all roasted, we're going to leave it to cool down, and then we can make the rest of the hummus with this once it's done. So I'm going to pop that in the oven, and I'll see you in about 40 minutes. squash is now beautifully roasted and it's cooled, so we're going to complete this hummus. Now what I didn't tell you at the beginning is that this is actually a peanut butter hummus also. So traditionally hummus is made with tahini, which is sesame paste. Now I'm very much of the mindset that I don't really want to buy so many ingredients that you use one thing for one recipe and then you never use it again. So I like to use things that are in my store cupboard. So I'm replacing the tahini in this instance with peanut butter. Obviously if you want to use tahini, go ahead, use that. If you have it or you want to go out and buy it, brilliant, go for it. It will taste delicious either way, but as I say, I'm using peanut butter. So what we're going to do is, in my food processor, I'm going to throw in a tin of chickpeas, which I've drained. It's about 400 grams of chickpeas there. Put those in. And then I'm going to add in the juice of 1 lemon. I'm just going to squeeze that through my fingers just to catch any pips. And we're going to add a heaped tablespoon of peanut butter. Now I didn't actually add any salt to the squash when it was roasting, and that's purely because peanut butter is quite salty, so you don't want to over salt it. But if you're using tahini, then I would recommend putting a bit of salt in with your pumpkin or your squash, whatever you're using. Just going to get in there. I'm also going to pop in a little bit more oil. Again, it's probably going to be about 2 tablespoons. I'm going to add in 1 for now, have a blend, and then add in more if it's needed. So, work out how to use my food processor. Okay, and blend. So what I'm going to do now, I'm actually going to add a dash of water just to loosen it up a little bit. So I'm just going to grab a jug. If you notice, my sink is next to where my computer is, where I'm filming, so you can see how teeny my kitchen actually is. I'm going to pour some water in there, just a little bit to begin with. Just give it another blitz. So, if I can get this off, which I probably can't now. Okay. This is the kind of texture you're going to be looking at. It's lovely. So I'm just going to get a spatula and I'm just going to scrape this down a little bit. I think we're going to need a little bit more oil in here. So it's all scraped down. So let's get this back on. I'm going to add in the squash now. So just to show you, this is the sort of texture you're going to be looking at. It's very soft. Now also, I didn't peel the squash, and I wouldn't recommend peeling any time you cook with butternut squash. Don't bother peeling it. The skin actually is super tasty. It's full of fibre. It's really good for you. It's just sort of, it gets quite sweet when you cook it. You also will have put your garlic cloves in there that will have roasted with the squash. If you do like it quite garlicky, feel free to mince in a little bit more garlic now. Obviously just be aware that because it's raw garlic, it's going to be quite acrid. So I do love garlic, but I'm not actually going to pop any in at this point, because you've roasted the squash with the garlic. That will all have infused, and you'll have a really lovely kind of garlicky flavour in there anyway. So I'm going to pop this back on. I'm going to switch it on. It's quite loud, if you hadn't noticed. I'm going to add a bit more oil in now, just to loosen it up, emulsifying a little bit. Joy of silence. I'm actually going to pop in a little bit more water here as well, because it's a bit thick, so I'm going to throw in just a tiny bit more water, just to loosen that up a tiny bit. Okay, and again I'm going to struggle to get this off. Lovely. Okay, that is done. So I'm just going to grab a spoon. I'm just going to check the seasoning. It does need a little pepper and a little bit more lemon juice. So I'm going to pop some pepper in there. And I'm going to cheat, and use my handy pretend lemon. I'm just going to add a couple of drops in there, just so I don't have to cut into another lemon, just for that little bit of juice. Would help if I could see where I put the blade. There it is. That's perfect. So, take that up there, and I'm going to grab a bowl. Okay, so there you have it. Beautiful, lovely pumpkin, or in this instance butternut squash, and peanut hummus. I actually could eat it like this, but dip stuff into it, maybe chips into it. Seriously, so tasty, so good for you, full of vitamins from the squash, and protein from the chickpeas. It's brilliant. So please give it a go, and I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.